So now we will concentrate on this concept, the types of utility. So before I explain what is consumer's equilibrium, how is it calculated, first of all you should know which are the types of utility. Utility, the bond satisfying power of a commodity. The bond satisfying power of a commodity. This I have already explained. And they are of three types, or we can say utility is expressed in three ways. Which are the three ways? Total utility, TU, that is total utility. MU, marginal utility. And third one, AU, average utility. Now, how are they calculated? What is the meaning of these concepts? As you know, total utility, now I have mentioned total utility, marginal utility and average utility. Total satisfaction derived from consuming a commodity, it is called total utility. A consumer is consuming different units of a commodity continuously, and the total satisfaction derived by the consumer is total utility. So what is marginal utility? When a consumer consumes an extra unit, when a consumer consumes one more unit of a commodity, what is the extra utility gained? That is marginal utility. Okay, here you can see total utility. First unit 10, second unit 16. So from the first unit marginal utility is 10. But when the consumer consumes the second unit, what is the extra utility gained? 6. Okay. Likewise, third unit consumption, the total utility is 20. And what is the extra utility gained here? From 16 to 20, what is the extra utility? 4. Okay. So total utility is the total satisfaction derived by the consumer by consuming a commodity. Marginal utility is the extra utility gained when a consumer consumes one more unit of that commodity. So what is average utility? It is per unit utility, per unit satisfaction. How is it calculated? Average, total divided by total utility divided by number of units consumed. 10 by 1, 10, 16 by 2, 8, 20 by 3, 6.6, 22 by 4, 5.5, so on. Okay. So, total utility, marginal utility, average utility. So, how is it calculated? Total utility is sigma mu, the total of marginal utility. MU, that is marginal unity of the first unit plus marginal unity of the utility of the second unit plus marginal utility of the third unit, and so on. How many units are given? That much to be added. So let us check here. Marginal utility, total utility is sigma mu. The sum of marginal utility gives us total utility. If so, 10 at the first unit, 10 plus 6, 16. 16 plus 4, 20. Then 2 plus 2, 22. 22 plus 0, 22. Okay. Then 22 minus 2, 20. So 22 plus negative 2 means 22 minus 2, 20. So how is it derived once more? Total utility is the total satisfaction derived by the consumer by consuming a commodity. How can we calculate it? By totaling marginal utility, sigma mu. So 10 plus 6, 16, 16 plus 4, 20, 20 plus 2, 22, so on. Okay. So how is average utility calculated? Per unit utility, it is total utility divided by units of commodity. So average utility is equal to total utility divided by number of units consumed. And one example I will show you. 10 by 1, 10, one more. Then second unit, total utility 16. How many units consumed? 2. 16 by 2, 8 and so on. So how is marginal utility calculated? How is marginal utility calculated? If total utility is equal to sigma mu, by totaling marginal utility, if we are getting total utility, how can we calculate marginal utility? So what is the meaning of the concept, definition of the concept? Marginal utility is the satisfaction derived by the consumer while consuming one more unit of the commodity. That is extra utility derived by consuming one more unit of the commodity. So here, what is extra received here? From 10 to 16, total utility increases. So what is the extra gained here? 6. Then third unit of consumption, 16 to 20. What is the extra gained here? 16 to 24. Then 20 to 22. What is extra gained? 2. 22 to 22. Is there any change? It remains constant. No change at all. Naturally, the marginal utility is 0. Now what happens to total utility? It declines to 20. Okay? Declines to 20. So, marginal utility becomes negative. Okay? So, 10 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 22, 22 to 22 means 22 remains as same. Then 20. So, marginal utility becomes negative, negative 2. So, how did we calculate marginal utility? 16 minus 10, 6. Then next one, 20 minus 16, 4. 22 minus 20, 2. Then 22 minus 22, 0. Then 20 minus 22 means minus 2. Okay. So the extra utility derived. And what is the nature of utility? Marginal utility. It declines at every unit, every extra unit of consumption or at every unit of consumption, every successive unit, that is the real term, every successive unit of consumption, marginal utility declines. Is it affecting total utility or total utility affecting marginal utility? Sure, because one is derived from the other. Okay, so total utility first rises 10 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 22. That is our first stage. Okay, then second stage what happens? it remains constant. Is there any change at the 5th unit? No. 4th unit 22 utils, 5th unit also 22 utils. 6th unit, if the consumer is consuming one more unit of the commodity, total utility declines. So 3 stages are there. 1, total utility increases, then total utility remains constant, total utility declines. What is the nature of marginal utility at that time? Marginal utility always declines. Every successive unit it declines, but it remains positive till the 4th unit. 10, 6, 4, 2. It remains positive. At that time, total utility rises. So, total utility rises when marginal utility is positive. When marginal utility is 0, total utility is constant, and at the 5th unit it is maximum. So, when marginal utility is 0, total utility is maximum. Beyond that, what is happening? Marginal utility negative, total utility false. And vice versa. Total utility rises, marginal utility remains positive, total utility is constant and maximum, marginal utility 0, total utility declines, marginal utility is negative. So that is a relation between both. So average utility, what is its nature? Then total utility, naturally there is a difference in total utility. It is reflecting on average, because total utility divided by number of units consumed is average utility. So, if total utility is sigma mu, how did we calculate marginal utility? What is the formula for that? Marginal utility is equal to total utility of the nth unit minus total utility of the n minus 1 unit. How did we calculate it? 16 minus 10. At the first level, first unit of consumption, total utility and marginal utility, average utility. It is same. Now the consumer is consuming one more unit of the commodity. What is the extra gain? 6. That is 16 minus 10. So total utility of the nth unit minus total utility of n minus 1 unit. So for example, total utility of the nth unit, total utility of n or nth unit, how much is that? 16. 16 minus n minus 1 unit, total utility of n minus 1 unit, 10 is equal to 6. Next, total utility of nth unit, 20. N minus 1 unit, 16. So, 20 minus 16 is equal to 4. 6, 4, 2, 0. This way it is calculated. Okay. So, marginal utility is equal to TU n minus TU n minus 1 means total utility of the nth unit minus total utility of n minus 1 unit. Or there is another way of calculating marginal utility. How is it? Delta TU by delta Q. What is delta TU? Delta TU means change in total utility. What is delta Q? Change in the quantity consumed. So what is change in total utility? If we are calculating mu through this method, what is delta Q here? What is delta TU here? Total utility 6. 16 minus 10, 6. That is delta Q. 6 divided by what is the change in units consumed? Delta Q 1 is equal to 6. Next, Next level, delta Tu by delta Q means what is the next extra gain? When the consumer increases the consumption from second unit to third unit. What is the change in total utility? 20 minus 16. 20 minus 16. That is a change in total utility divided by what is the change in the quantity consumed? 3 minus 2, 1. So 4 by 1, 4. Okay. Now, while we are assessing total utility, marginal utility, and we have already derived the relation. We have already discussed the relation between total utility and marginal utility. What is the nature of marginal utility? Every successive unit it is declining, it is falling, and this is expressed through the law of diminishing marginal utility.